Okay, right. So I've wanted to do this for a while now. I've been watching knitting podcasts for about a year and a half now. I'm not sure why I want to do it because I'm not exactly that confident talking on camera or to myself, which is what I'm doing right now. But anyway, my name's Freya. I currently live in Glasgow. I was born in England, grew up in Cumbria. I moved up to Glasgow in 2015 when I went to uni at the Glasgow School of Art. Already managed a year there, but that's another story. I'll probably go into that later. Basically, I don't want to spend too long in an intro because I'm scared that people will get bored and click off and not even get to the knitting part. So basically I'm just going to jump into like finished objects, WIPs. I have got actually some acquisitions, but that won't happen every time, I can tell you that much right now. I'll get more into that when I talk about it later, but so I guess I'll start with what I'm wearing because I did literally finish this yesterday. I haven't washed and blocked it yet, but it doesn't really matter for what, it doesn't really matter when I'm wearing it, but it is, I'm going to forget every name to everything. I might be able to learn how to put caption and words and pictures up, but I'm really awful at technology, so we'll see about that. This is the Jessie May Ripple crop top, I think. I could be completely wrong. Well, not completely wrong, but I'm not sure how see-through that is. Is that? Anyway, so I've knitted a lot of Jessie May's patterns and knit multiples of her patterns in different yarns, colours, and I'm awful with not doing gauge swatches. I think I have done gauge swatches before for things, but they always end up being like exactly correct. Well, not exactly correct, but pretty much correct the first time. So then I kind of gave up. I was like, what's the point? I'm just gonna knit it, and I'm not really bothered if the size is a little bit off. But I think for things, I don't know, it depends. But for this, actually the first one I knit, and I was in between the small and the medium. So the first one I didn't knit completely the medium. I think I changed the like stitch count around, so I was like just below the medium, just above the small. But that ended up being a bit too big, and I wore it for like 2 days, and I was like, do you know what, I'm not gonna wear it if it fits this way. So I frogged it and I knit the small, but I added 6 extra stitches because I didn't want it to be too tight, but the medium was too big, so that ended up being perfect pretty much. So that's what I've done with this one as well. I really like it. I'm going to be awful with names of everything basically, but I can't find the ball band. No, I can actually. So I knit this in Drops Baby Merino. This is the colour. That does not show up. It's a lot brighter. Not a lot, but it's a lot brighter than that. It's a lot more yellow than brighter. I'm pretty sure it's called Lime. I got it. I'm obsessed with Wool Warehouse, absolutely obsessed. I look at it, I just browse the website, even if I don't need to buy any yarn. And they've had a sale on the drops, and I've been on a yarn buying ban because we've just moved house and we've been saving up, and it's expensive moving house and all that fun stuff. So I've been on a yarn buying ban basically, but I'll get on later to why I decided to buy some yarn recently. But I couldn't help but get this one. I absolutely love the colour. I think I see it. I'm ginger, so I think green kind of goes. But anyway, I love it. It's so soft. It's the Drops Baby Merino. I'm not sure if that's going to be backwards or not, and it's not in focus. But Drops Baby Merino Unicolor and it's a superwash merino wool. The last one I made was, I'm pretty sure the brand was Sublime, and it was the merino cashmere and silk blend. That's the first one that I knit. That was on offer when I first bought that, so that's the reason why. And then I made another one recently, and I got some coins of cotton yarn from my parents for Christmas, not labelled, and I don't really know where they got it from, but I know that one of them was a 4-ply and it was blue. I do actually want to make a video showing all from the beginning all of the stuff that I've knitted, because I love watching those videos and I think it's really interesting, and I think I've got quite a lot to show, and I think it'll be interesting to show the journey. But anyway, yeah, I'll probably show you some of that stuff in that video, so I'll not get into it, but basically I love it. I love all of her patterns, I'm not gonna lie. Obsessed, absolutely obsessed, and you will see that when I show you all of the things that I've knitted. So that's that. I finished that yesterday. I'm not going in chronological order of what I've finished recently. I don't really think it matters, but before that I knitted yet another ranunculus. I don't even want to know how many I've knitted. I think this is my 5th. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere, something like that. This is I am on a college course, a fashion textile course, and for that I did a project and I used pink mohair, and so I had a few scraps left, so I did like a gradient. There is actually a different colour at the bottom there, but you can't really see it, can you? I don't know, but with the ranunculus I'm gonna put it on, why not? It's absolutely boiling, but why not? With the ranunculus, I'll get more I'll show you my ranunculus journey, I'm sure, in that video that I'm wanting to make. But oh my god, my hair gets everywhere. For the ranunculus, I've never knitted the pattern word for word ever. I've always changed it to be a smaller size, because it's a one pattern fits all. Is that the right way to word it? I don't even know. One size fits all, but it was too oversized. Like, I knew before knitting it that it would be too oversized. I like oversized things, right? But that was a bit too much for me. So I just modified it right from the beginning. Actually, my first one, I did less stitches for the arms, and obviously less stitches for the body. This is actually the smallest stitch count that I've used this one is because I wanted a more fitted fit. Does that make sense? I wanted it to be more fitted. This one, I don't think it's my favourite ranunculus that I've made. I do really love all my other ones. I actually really like the long sleeve ones that I've done. I really like those. They make me feel all ethereal when I wear them. I actually knitted this a couple of weeks ago actually now. My girlfriend's nan passed away, and I'm not a dress wearer at all. I hate wearing dresses, they make me feel really uncomfortable, so I looked everywhere for something to wear, and I was like, do you know what, I'm just going to make this, wear some fancy pants, because her nan wanted everyone to be colourful at the funeral, so I knit this, wore some pink pants, and that was me. I do really like this. It's obviously special for that reason. I'm going to take it off now because it is boiling. Absolutely boiling. Right. I don't know if there's anything else to... Oh, there will be a running theme throughout all of my projects. And maybe I'll get onto this now actually, I might as well. All of these are drops. I can't think of the names off the top of my head. Actually, that's a lie, I don't actually know what this bottom colour is. My parents recently, well, are about to move house, so I went down and looked through all of my stuff, and I found a little scrap of mohair, this one at the bottom, which just so happened to go with this gradient. So anyway, this top one is light pink, I think, from Drops. This middle one is just pink, and that one, do you know, I want to say that it's actually Drops. I know that I didn't buy that, I'm pretty sure that was like handed down from either my granny or my auntie to me, but to me it does look like the raspberry colour, if I remember the names correctly from Drops. Could be wrong, don't actually know the label, but I've never actually used any of the mohair because it can get really expensive. Although for this one, this ranunculus only weighs 42 grams, so I could, you know, make a short sleeved one out of two 25-gram balls, and if I buy a more higher quality one, they're about what, £6 a ball, so I can make it for £12 is actually quite cheap. But if I can make one for, let me do the mental maths here, if I can make one for like £6.60, no, that's £7.60, then I'm obviously going to choose that one because I don't have a lot of money, full stop, but I don't have a lot of money to spend on yarn. I might as well talk about it a little bit, about the sustainability and ethics behind the yarn that I buy. It does really, really upset me that I don't have the budget to spend on those yarns. Obviously I would absolutely love to be able to knit exclusively in sustainable, ethical, local to me yarns, but at this point in my life it's just not an option for me, which does really upset me. Like I said, it does really upset me. It's not that I just can't indulge that way, it's really sad, but at the end I do want to go on to talk about a bit about me, because it's my first video and all that, so I'll probably get onto why I still want to knit, even though I can't, how do I word this? I still want / need to knit, even though it does upset me that I can't buy the sustainable ethical yarns that I want to. Yeah, I'll go on to that later. So so at the end of 2020, I started, well, I'd knit a lot of socks in 2020, like a lot of socks. Everyone got socks for Christmas and all that stuff. I absolutely love knitting socks. And so I had all these scrap yarns left, right? And I'd seen people making like proper scrappy socks on like Instagram and stuff like that, and I was like, I love them. Like, I kind of like them more than if I was to exclusively just use one ball of yarn for a pair of socks and match them up and make sure the repeat, you know, matches. But I never had the scraps to make the scrappy socks, and I didn't want to buy like loads of yarn just to make scrappy socks. Like, I really wanted it to be authentic, if that makes sense. Like, I really wanted it to actually be my scraps. So anyway, at the end of 2020, I was weighing my little scraps and stuff, and I finally had enough to make a pair of socks. Small socks for me, but still a pair of socks. And it was all of the yarns that I'd used that year in my socks, and I absolutely love them. Maybe I'll try and post a picture if I learn how to do that. I'm awful at technology, so we'll see. Anyway, long story short, a couple of people started messaging me asking if I could make some socks for them, scrappy socks. So I ended up buying a couple of balls of yarn to make scrappy socks. So they weren't actually like all of my scraps. I had actually went and bought the yarn balls for them. I don't know how many I've sold now, quite a few. I mean, I'm not selling them for profit. If I was to work out how much I'm paying myself per hour, it's like 70-80p per hour to make them, but that's not really what I'm into. I mean, people obviously with like fast fashion and stuff like that, people aren't really used to spending so much money on clothes or, you know, socks especially, actually. So I was selling them for like a really reasonable price that would cover like the balls of yarn, the postage and packaging, and obviously giving myself a little bit of money, like, you know, anyway. So my aunties and dog walking pal asked for some, so I'm going to show you each sock by its. I've not blocked these. I know I will get around to it because I do need to send them off in the next couple of days, but this is the first one. That's probably not going to focus. If it does, I'd be very surprised, but this is the first one. Now, I actually went through a phase of dyeing my own self-striping. That's my own self-striping right at the top there. A lot of these are Drops Fable. I know that one is. And that one, and that one is. But a lot of the other ones are Stylecraft Head Over Heels yarn too, and this stripe is West Yorkshire Spinners as well. So that's the first one, and this is the second one. Obviously I don't match these up to be a perfect pair because that's like the whole point of them to me. I think they're pretty funky. I'm actually running out of, do you know what I'm actually gonna I say running out, I've got a lot of sock yarn, but I'm sort of running out of, I seem to have a lot of just stripy ones and not like stripy ones with like the patterns in. I'm running out of those. So I think that I do really like these, but I think my other ones are a little bit better because I had a few more different kinds of yarns. I'm going to show you, excuse all the stuff behind me. I'm actually going to show you my big bag of sock yarn, and I'm sat here saying I've not got enough, but I've hardly got any of like the ones like that is a drops one, I know that much. I'm pretty sure that's called guacamole. But see, like, let me get one. A lot of them are just stripes, and to me I like to use pattern. I prefer to use pattern, self-patterning, pattern sock yarns, because I think that was more interesting basically. But anyway, that's enough of that pair of socks. So, oh, actually, I was going to go into WIPs, but I'm going to go into this first. So, I'm finding a lot of new podcasts recently. Like, everyone seems to be starting podcasts, so I'm sort of jumping on the trends. But recently I started to watch, oh my god, Woolly Witchcraft she's called, on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure her real name's Brogan. I'm awful with names, but she recently like called for test knitters for her first pattern, and I was like, oh my god, I need to do that. I've never done a test knit before and I've always wanted to, and I thought it was just so cute. This is definitely not going to show up, especially in this one. But anyway, I got to test knit it. This one's made out of surprise drops, mohair. Pretty sure it's light beige. This was also a scrap from my granny actually. I made that one out of, they are headbands. I would put it on, but I'm not going to because it would take me a while to put it in my hair and style it properly. I made 3 because, I don't know, I thought it would be nice to sort of have a few different kinds of yarn, because obviously with like accessories the gauge doesn't matter as much as like garments and stuff. So I was like, well, I'm gonna play around with, like, I'm pretty sure she asks for a DK weight in the pattern. My memory's awful, so that could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was. I think. So anyway, I decided to make 3 with different yarns. This one, do you know what, I actually have got the balls for this one behind me. This one is made out of Drops came out with some new colours, and I've been wanting a reason to buy them so badly. This is one of them. That's gonna annoy me that it's not focusing, because that one is actually really beautiful. It's a grey. It's like a light grey with like dark grey bits. So it comes out mottly, which I love. Then I held that double with Drops Flora. That's a different shade, but that's the shade that I used. It's a bit lighter than that, it's a bit less grey than that in real life. And this one is made up of 65% wool and 35% alpaca, and I wanted to get alpaca specifically because I know that it has the beautiful drapes to it, and I didn't want it to be stiff. Like, the whole point is for it to be lovely and drapey and it to fall nicely. as a headscarf, a bandana, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, and the last one that I made was made out of a scrap from a jumper that I made. Actually, I made the Felix jumper from that. Again, I do want to make a video showing everything that I've made so far, so you'll definitely see that. And that's an Aran weight yarn, I think. Do you know, funnily enough, they all turned out to be pretty much the same dimensions. I used the same needle size. I don't know if that's normal. Like, I thought if I used, like, obviously the mohair is like a lace weight, and then the mohair held with the 4-ply drops flora, surely that would make a DK weight yarn. But then I used an Aran weight yarn for this. But anyway, they all came out the same dimensions and stuff, so I think they're absolutely beautiful. They're perfect for using up scrap yarn. Because I'm pretty sure, do you know what? I'm pretty sure that first one, that mohair one, was only 12 grams. Do you know, I've got my book here actually of all of my notes. That's all the notes for it. It makes sense to me anyway. So the red one that I showed, that was Drops Lima, and that was 59 grams. The mohair one was 12 grams, and the mohair held with the 4-ply was a total of 39 grams, so really good for leftovers and scraps. So that's all my recent finished objects. Yeah, obviously I've got loads more finished objects, but that's sort of what I've recently done. Obviously I've recently moved house, so usually I knit like 24/7, but I did go through a period of like probably more than 2 weeks actually, because of my girlfriend's nan passing away. I didn't knit a lot then at all. That is my cat at the door. She scratches it and it's so annoying. She ruins doors. Anyway, so that's what I've sort of been doing since I've moved house. Yeah. That is going to annoy me. I don't know if you can hear that, but she's scratching at that door. Do you know, right, another Jessie made design on the needles here. I have actually taken off the needles because this uses 3.5 needles, and I used that for a couple of projects after I started this even. This is the outline tank. Now, I've knitted this one time before, and of course I didn't do a gauge swatch. I'm going to have to let her in because that is annoying me. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Someone was knocking on my front door and the cat was trying to scratch again, and that was annoying me. Anyway, so I was talking about this, and so I've already knitted the outline tank once. Of course I didn't do a gauge swatch because I feel like I always get the gauge right. I haven't actually checked the final garment to see if I did get gauge. I probably should do that, but I can never be bothered. But I have sort of made a vouch to myself that from now on, I hate giving into this, but from now on I do actually think I'm going to try and do gauge swatches. One of the reasons why I also don't do gauge swatches actually is because you have to buy more yarn, and obviously that, especially if it's a more expensive yarn, then I don't really like doing that. But I think I need to sort of accept that that is part of the process. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, So this is my second one. The first one I knitted the small, and for the Jessie made designs, all of the ones that I've made I have been the small size. But now that I think about it, well no, apart from this one, which I knitted a couple of stitches above the small, and this does fit perfectly, but I knitted that's a lie, the small has fitted me on all of them, but I knitted the outline tank. And I will go into all of these in my other video where I'm going to film myself talking about everything that I've been so far, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But anyway, it ended up being a bit too big, and I know it's meant to be oversized anyway, but it was a little bit too oversized. I do still wear it on like really hot days because I made it out of cotton, because it's drapey and it has a lot of extra room in it. Anyway, onto this one. On the outline tank, so this kind of defeats the purpose of making the outline tank, but I do love the design and the drop stitches. But for some, well no, one of the reasons why I didn't really click with it or love, like really love the finished object is because, and I'll show you this in the other video, is because where the drop stitches are up here, the edge sort of curls back around and it's not open. So the drop stitches down here are open, they look beautiful and perfect, but the drop stitches here sort of curl on themselves and they're not open, and to me it just looks a bit messy. I did actually watch, I think her name's Lily Kate, like literally like yesterday, and her mum made her one, and she actually crocheted slip stitches all the way across the edging, and I think she did that for the same reason that mine was going wrong, and apparently that fixed it, so I'm definitely going to have a go at that, I think, because if I fix that, and that means I wear it a bit more than what could go wrong, do you know what I mean? But anyway, so for this one I'm knitting the size small, no, extra small, I mean, so the smallest size I can, because I want it to be just a bit more fitted. I think it probably will still be oversized, just based on how oversized my first one was. But for this one, I'm not doing the drop stitches, so I'm literally making just like a plain tank. But I do really want that. I'm starting, well, especially in summer, I'm starting to just want like the basics, like, well, all of the time really. I like to just wear like, well no, I like to wear my knits, I love to wear my knits, but on days where like sometimes the wool is my skin's a bit more sensitive to the wool, I just wear a cotton strappy top. And I was like, why can't I just knit a cotton strappy top? So that's my thought process with this. But and I started this in my old house, thinking that this would be like my small portable project to sort of take me, that I could do when I move in and when all my yarn's packed away. Because it is knit on small needles, it is taking me a little while longer to finish, obviously. Where was I going with that? But knitting with cotton isn't my favourite. It hurts my hands and I go a lot slower with it. So I kind of got, especially this twisted rib at the bottom. Especially this twisted rib at the bottom just took so long. So but I did it and I was like, I have gotten through this. I am not giving up. I'm not ripping out that twisted rib. So obviously I have persisted and I've gotten a wee bit. I mean, I've got a good amount of progress, I think. So I'm definitely going to finish this. And every now and then I do a couple of rounds, but I think this is gonna, see, I don't really do that. So with my projects, once I start a project, I get a bit obsessed with it, and I just really want the end product. So I just knit and knit and knit on it until I finish it. But for some reason for this one, I've just not done that, and I don't usually do that with my knitting projects. I do usually obviously finish it quite soon. So I'm kind of delving into a different thing with just knitting a few rows here and there, hoping that over time it will just sort of knit itself. Do you know what I mean by that? Hopefully that makes sense. So anyway, there's that. And my next WIP is, and this, I have finished in the middle of a row that is so annoying. This is a pair of Shorty Socks. Now, I don't like shorties, or at least I thought I didn't like shorties, just in normal socks and in knitted socks, but for Christmas my girlfriend got me a 9-inch circular sock needle because I've wanted to try that for so long. So she got me that, and I cast on like Christmas Day, but because it was a practice one, I just used like sock yarn that I didn't really like and scraps of it, but not like nice enough to be scrappy socks, like half of the sock and then like a big section of the another colour, because I didn't care. I just wanted to practice using the 9-inch, and I got too excited and I just wanted to finish the pair really fast. I don't know why. Why would I do that? Because obviously I needed to practice, but I'm just finished this row because it's annoying me. But anyway, that's what I did. What was I talking about? So I knit Shorty Socks. I knit Shorty Socks with the 9-inch because I just wanted to see, well one, I wanted to see what the fit was like, because obviously for most of my, like all of the projects, even if I'm doing like a flat piece, I will use a circular needle to knit that flat, like to go back and forth on. I don't like the straight needles, they hurt, they're just not comfortable for me to use. So I always use circulars anyway, but I'd never used such a small circumference, is that the right word? Such a short one, and obviously you hold it differently, like a lot differently, and it did actually, for most of the pairs, it really hurt my hand, which broke my heart, because once I got into the rhythm of it, like on the foot, it knitted itself. It was so satisfying because I just went round and round and round and round. Anyway, and because you knit differently on it, my gauge was inevitably going to change. And I'd heard a lot of people say that their gauge got looser. Now, up until Christmas, I knit all of my socks on a 2.5 because my mum gave me, like a couple of years ago, a sock yarn and a set of 2.5 sock needles. Now, I didn't knit those socks then. It was only last year that I actually got around to knitting the pair of socks again, because I'd knit 2 pairs of socks when I was a teenager, but I sort of stopped knitting. I didn't knit for ages, and then I picked it up again like 2 years ago, and I knit that pair of socks on that set of needles. Pretty sure it was a Knit Pro bamboo needle, pretty sure. Anyway, 2.5, and that was really comfortable for me. Like, it wasn't, I've never really, apart from when I first learned how to knit when I was a kid, my gauge was really, really tight, and I'm pretty sure that is the case for most new knitters, or at least what I've experienced, is your gauge being quite tight at the beginning. So anyway, my gauge was really tight as a kid, but but since I picked it back up, it's been comfortable, the stitches slide nicely, but it's not, I mean, you probably won't be able to tell my gauge anyway, but it's not wholly, it's like, this isn't on a 2.5, I should say. It's not wholly, it's not too, it's just nice. It's a nice fabric to me. But anyway, watching podcasts and seeing like a lot of people using a 2.25, and to me I was like, oh, that's just too small, it would take too long. Even though it was only a 0.25 difference to me, or at least on a small needle like that, that does actually make a lot of difference anyway. And I was like, I heard that like when you use a smaller needle, the fabric gets more dense and therefore the sock lasts longer. So I was like, if I'm going to put all of this effort into making a pair of socks, I want them to last as long as possible. So at Christmas I asked my girlfriend to get me a set of 2.25 DPNs and a circular sock needle. Now I don't know why I asked for this, but I asked for a 2.5 in the circular and a 2.25 for the straights. And looking back, I'm like, why didn't I ask for a 2.25? Because I heard a lot of people saying how their gauge got looser on a circular sock needle. I've gone on a massive tangent with this. But basically back to the beginning, I knit my first pair of circular needle socks, shorties, so that I could have the finished project and see what the fit was like. And I'm pretty sure it's like exactly the same gauge that I got from a DPN. It could have not, do you know what, it might, no, it was pretty much the same. If it was a little bit looser and a little bit tighter, it was not noticeable at all when I was wearing it. So anyway, and I knit that in winter, and I never really wore them because I knit it out of yarn that I didn't like, and they were random colour blocks. I didn't like them. I did wear them like a couple of times if I didn't care if I ruined my knitted socks that I was wearing. Like if I was, you know what I mean. If I didn't care that I ruined the socks that I was wearing, I'd wear them. But they didn't get ruined, right enough. But anyway, summer's come along and I've been wearing them because they're shorties and it's so hot here, but I don't like wearing any other socks. I don't wear any other socks apart from knitted socks now, unless I am going on like a heavy duty walk. I say that I go for walks, I don't go for walks, but if I'm like doing a lot of walking in that day, like going into town or, you know what I mean, I'll wear normal store-bought socks for that. So I've been wearing the shorty socks a lot more in summer because it means that like my ankle and my foot can breathe. They're not covered up so they don't get as warm. And I was like, oh, I need to knit another pair because I'm wearing them so much. But I've always wanted to knit a pair of bamboo socks using sock yarn that's got bamboo in, and so I've got some sock yarn that had bamboo in, and this is the James C. Brett Funny Feet. Now I don't know if these have actually got names, but they're shades that, I don't know if that's going to be back to front. It's shade FZB11. All of the yarn from this line has the same like patterns, just in different colours. And this was my favourite one. I do prefer like self-patterning instead of self-striping yarn, but I do actually quite like these. I do quite like these, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, this yarn is 25% bamboo, 50% wool and 25% polyamide, I think. I mean, it's not a massively high bamboo, or is it? Because I've never used a bamboo sock yarn before. I probably should have looked this up before I did this, but I don't know if, I'm pretty sure bamboo is also a strong, not fibre, is it a fibre? Fibre thing. So it is alright that, do you know what I mean? I mean, surely there's enough in there to make it a more breathable, nicer sock to wear in summer than if I was just to use like a 75-25 sock yarn. So that's me. I cast that on yesterday after I finished this, and that's as far as I've got yesterday. I'll probably finish these, not today but tomorrow. I just love knitting socks, what can I say? So that's that. This is, I should say, on a 2.5, is this Symphonies, Knit Pro Symphonies, 2.5 Symphonies. I started, with my socks I've knitted so many that I've sort of perfected the recipe for my, well, for my feet anyway. I'm thinking of doing like a dedicated sock video because I've got so much and I've got a lot to say about socks because I'm so obsessed with knitting them. So I won't get into all of it, but for this one I cast on 60 because I want it to really cinch in at my ankle because I don't want it to slip off. I cast on 60. I've got a really high instep, really high, so I did 18 repeats of the heel flap and gusset, and then I decreased to 62 stitches for the foot, which is my happy medium. 64 is a little bit too loose and 60 is a little bit too tight. I mark it with the light bow stitch markers. I did 10 rounds for the cuff, another 10 rounds of knit, 18 repeats, reduced down to 62, and then I will do 66 rounds total for my foot. I'm pretty sure I'm a size 5.5. I used to think I was a size 5, but now, but I've sort of come to realise that I'm actually a 5.5. But anyway, I've played around with how many rows that I've done. I'm talking so long about socks. I honestly could talk forever about socks. But anyway, 66 seems to be what I'm liking at the moment. So that's my second WIP. I am about to start another test knit, which I'm very excited about. I've never done test knits before until that bandana. I actually followed the hashtag test knitters wanted or needed on Instagram, and I found this one on Instagram. It's always so annoying when people like reference something that they don't show on their podcast, but I'm gonna do it because I've not started yet. In fact, no, I have actually bought the yarn for it. Maybe I'll put a picture up of it. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to because she's put out pictures of what the finished garment looks like, so I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to. So I guess we'll jump into acquisitions. Because of this, so initially she said 2 weeks, and I was like, do you know what, I'm not going to be able to finish it because I need to buy yarn for that. But she was like, no, it's fine, you can take longer. And hers was made out of ombre, and like I was saying, I'm on a big budget, and I was like, I just can't afford that. So I found some of the yarn, and which I think would look really cute for it. I do feel bad that I've not bought. She used cotton, and like I said, I don't really like using cotton. Is that bad that I'm not using cotton? Probably, but I don't really like knitting with cotton, and it's not that I don't wear my cotton things as much. I do actually like wearing cotton things, but to me a lot, like, if I don't have fun knitting the piece, then I'm not gonna have fun wearing it as much. Does that make sense? Like, it would be a bit tainted for me, so to speak. So anyway, long story short, I ended up getting this again. Don't know if that's back to front, probably. That is pretty, I mean, it is a little bit lighter than that. It is actually a little bit lighter than that in real life, but that is pretty much a good, do you know what, I actually don't know if it is, because I have got the eye comfort filter on my phone, so maybe it is actually coming up alright. Anyway, it's mottled. I love mottled yarn. I think it'll look cute for it. I love pink. I thought I'd give it a go. This is the West Yorkshire Spinners. It was on offer, so that's why I got it. Surprise. Boy Peep luxury baby 4-ply. 52% Falkland wool and 48% nylon. Now, I don't really like, apart from socks obviously, because you need that percentage to make it strong, I don't like wearing synthetic fibres. I did actually start, which most people do, I think, I did actually start my knitting / crochet journey using acrylic, because obviously it's so much cheaper. Not only that, but it's easy to care for, and at the beginning I didn't want to invest in something that I had to hand wash. I mean, I didn't have the time to do that. Why would I do that at the beginning? But this is a baby yarn. I knew that it'd be soft because it's a baby yarn, and also it's West Yorkshire Spinners, which I know is a really good quality brand. And I've not knitted with Falkland wool to my knowledge. And I googled it, I looked it up, because I was like, Falkland, is that going to be soft? For some reason I had it in my head that that isn't a soft wool, but I looked it up and apparently it is, and it is. This is a really soft yarn. I don't think it'll irritate me. I mean, I can wear mohair next to my skin, unless I'm having a sensitive day, which I do every now and then, especially when it's warm, I think. But I could definitely wear this next to my skin, I think, definitely. I don't think this has a name either. This is probably back to front again, but this is, nope, that is not gonna focus, so I will put that in the description. I do really like this. I really hope it turns out alright, because it is a textured pattern and a textured fabric, so I'm hoping the mottled doesn't take away from that. But we'll see. Now, I'm sure everyone can relate to this, but I got that from Wool Warehouse, by the way, which is where I get pretty much all of my wool from. And they were having a sale, obviously, because I got that in the sale. I'm pretty sure it was £1 off a ball, which made, added up to be quite a good discount. Drops, again, it was the same drops that I used for this. I'll get on to my other Wool Warehouse purchase. I got this one, and then I got another order as well before that. Anyway, so the Drops Baby Merino was on offer, a really, really good discount, and it added up to be quite a saving for a sweater's quantity, so I just couldn't help myself. I could not help myself, because it rounded up to over 25, which means you get free delivery, and I don't know any knitter that doesn't try and get up past the limit to get free delivery. Anyway, so I got this. Another Drops yarn. What can I say? I'm pretty sure this is like Dusky or Dusty Rose or something like that. I did actually think it was going to be a little bit lighter because of the website, but you can never really tell because of obviously every laptop shows it differently. So I got 5 balls, I think, of that, with the intention of knitting another Jessie Need design. The one that I want to knit with that wool is the, no, I am not going to remember the name. It's like, what is it called? It's like again, it's a 3x3 rib, and it's like a t-shirt-y thing with those sleeves, and I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about. I'll put a link to it down below. Anyway, and I am definitely gonna cast that on after I finish that test knit for sure, because I wanted to knit that one for ages, but I've been on a yarn ban, and yeah, but I bought it. I bought it because I was like, I need to buy yarn for this test knit, and I did really want to do this test knit because I think it's important to do these things when the opportunity comes up, and I sort of convinced myself that it was acceptable or worth it or a good reason to indulge, so I did it. Anyway, that's me. And so the other order I did, I'm going to pause this actually because I think my camera's going to cut off the video and that already annoyed me. So the other order I got was actually before that order, but the other order I got was for the bandana test, pattern test that I did, because I just really wanted to knit in the yarn that I did knit in, and the yarn that I got on that one, that's when I ordered this yarn. Again, the same yarn, the Baby Drops merino, just in the lime colour. I got that drops, I'm pretty sure it's called Storm Mohair, that I used to knit the test bandana. Again, I got that that one that I showed before, and I also got this one. I got this colour, it's a bit lighter than that because I just wanted to knit with it. I don't usually do that. I do usually buy yarn, unless it's stock yarn obviously. I do actually buy yarn with a project in mind, but I just really love this colour. Don't know why. I think recently I've sort of wanted to knit with more neutrals. I don't know why, because I say everything, but most things so far has been in bright colours, apart from a couple of things. I just really wanted to knit with it, so I think I'm going to knit a pair of fingerless gloves as a Christmas present for either my mum or my little sister. I'm pretty sure a couple of people would appreciate something like that, so I don't think I'll be short of people that I could give that to. So that's what I got. And also, like I was saying before, my parents are about to move house, so I had to go down and look through my old stuff, and I had a couple of yarns that was passed down for me that I had down there, and one of the things that I found was this Sublime extra fine merino wool DK, 100% extra fine merino, yeah. And I actually thought when I seen it, I was like, oh my god, yes, it's enough. I actually thought it was a 4-ply, which a 50-gram 4-ply would have been enough to make like something like this, but like would be cropped here. That was literally just like a bra kind of a situation. I was like, yes, I can make something like that. And then I got it home and I was like, oh, it's a DK. So I don't really know what to make with it, because if I buy another one, then I have to stripe it, and then it sort of well, to me it sort of limits what I could do with that, because a lot of things I don't really want to be stripy, if that makes sense. So so that's a DK. It's 160 meters. So if anybody has any ideas what I could, obviously it's a really nice quality yarn. Usually I wouldn't be able to afford something like this because it's a bit more pricey for me. So I really want to use it, like I really want to use it. I don't know what, I mean, could I get like, no. I couldn't get like a really small fingerless mitt out of that, could I? I don't think I could. So that's everything that I want to go through today. I was actually going to do a little bit at the end about me. I mean, I suppose I might as well. If I don't, then I'll say goodbye now. No, I won't. Will I? I'm going to go on to talk about myself. I think that means that the video will be like an hour and a half long. But I actually like that from knitting videos. I don't know about anybody else. So a little bit about me, basically. Like I said, I was born in England, grew up in Cumbria, moved to Glasgow six years ago. I moved to Glasgow to go to art school, the Glasgow School of Art. I did actually get into the textiles course there, and I got into the jewellery and silversmithing course there. And for some reason I was like, and I did art and art, textiles and drama for my A-levels, so I already had like quite a big knowledge base of art, textiles and all that. And obviously growing up I knitted, and I was always doing something textiley with my hands. So I felt like actually I know quite a lot about that, and if I'm going to go to uni and spend all of that money, I want to learn a lot of new things. So I was like, right, I'm going to choose jewellery and silversmithing so I can, what's the word? I can like put my textiles knowledge into jewellery and use my textiles in jewellery. So anyway, I accepted that one. I declined the textiles one, which definitely wasn't the right decision, because I didn't know anything about jewellery. I felt completely out of my depths. I wasn't good. I mean, how deep do I want to go with this? So I managed to do first year, but halfway through I had a breakdown. Now, I've always struggled with my mental health since I was a kid, always. It's always been there, a part of my life, quite a big part of my life. Maybe I should address this as well, but all throughout my teenage years and also my like young adult years, I self-harmed, so you might see my scars. I'm not bothered about showing them now, they've all healed and they look silver now, they're not red anymore, so I'm not bothered about getting them out anymore. I was really self-conscious, that's why I got all of these tattoos, but I've still got the ones here, and my legs showing, and I'm not bothered about showing them now. It doesn't bother me, and nobody really seems to say anything to me about it anymore. Anyway, I had a breakdown at uni halfway through the year. I managed to get to the end. I don't know how, but I managed to get to the end. And then in summer, wasn't a good summer. I think I managed one day. I went into uni one day of second year and I was like, no, I can't do that. That's way too much, way too much. So I took a leave of absence for a year. I got to the end of that leave of absence and I took it again for the next year. And then when that finished, I was like, no, I can't go back to uni. That's not for me. That would be such a detriment to me. So in about a couple of months after, how do I word this? A couple of months after that summer, after first year, I moved up to Orkney. Now my mum's family is from Orkney, and every summer we went and lived up there in the summer holidays. So obviously it's a special place to me, and I know, like, I felt like I know the place, I know the island completely. So I went to live up there with my auntie and my girlfriend, and ended up staying there for a couple of years, the whole time saving up to move back to Glasgow. But my mental health was shocking, absolutely shocking for a couple of years. Obviously I'm still healing and all that, but when I was up there, basically 3 years I was pushed around everyone, waiting on appointments and on lists all the time, and I was pushed around so many different medications. And as it turns out, I got diagnosed maybe 3 years into that with bipolar and BPD, and as that happens, the medications that they were putting me on actually makes my bipolar worse. So without them knowing, they were making me worse. Luckily now I am on the right medication and I'm slowly getting better. But when I was in Orkney, I had a psychotic episode, really bad psychotic episode, and there's no psychiatrist. I did have a psychiatrist, but they come up every week to do the appointments. So there isn't one on the island. There's not even a mental health bed at the hospital there. When I lived there anyway. So this whole week I was left at home being psychotic, and I won't go into that because that's not. Does anybody want to know that? I don't know. Anyway, psychotic for a week, waiting on this psychiatrist to come up and section me. So I got sectioned, got flown down to Aberdeen to the mental health hospital there, spent 2 weeks there, got a bit better and flew back to Orkney. And I've slowly gotten better from there, really. So fast forward a year and a half, I moved back down to Glasgow. And then I moved to this house a month ago. And in that time, obviously, I don't want to take away, like, I was doing small steps. To other people it might look like small steps, but for me it was massive steps, obviously. Doing small steps, waiting on appointments, waiting on therapy, still not gotten to do therapy because of all the waiting times. And it got to like a year in and I was like, I can't keep doing small steps. I need something. I was still waiting on therapy. I needed something, do you know what I mean? I needed something. And for the past couple of years, I every now and then I'd go on and look at like college courses. I didn't want to go back to uni. That would have been too much. I was looking at college courses, which is like would be a step down in qualification from uni. And I've seen a fashion textile course at the Glasgow Clyde College. And I kept going back to this and I was like, oh, I really want to do that. But obviously it was too much for me, way too much for me, up until, well, probably when I applied it was too much for me as well. But anyway, I applied, I got in, and this is just when lockdown started. So for the past year I've been doing that college course, the fashion textiles college course, just completed first year, about to go into second year from that. So I went from doing like nothing, I say nothing, might have looked like nothing to anybody else, but it was like things that I was doing was massive for me. I went from doing small steps to massive steps. And it was about that time where I got obsessed with knitting as well. So not only had I taken on a college course, I was also knitting my little heart out on the side. So I went from doing nothing to everything. I'm not sure how I got through the first year. There was a couple of points where I was saying, this is too much, man. Too much, but anyway, I pushed through and I managed to finish it. At the moment, I have taken a dip and I'm like, do I really want to do second year? Like, it all feels too much for me again. But I'm gonna start it, and I hope what happened in uni doesn't happen again. But I'm gonna start it, and that'll be me for the next year, and then after that, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, not too much else to say on that right now. I mean, what else to say? I don't know if I want to go into my knitting journey because I do want to do an extra video, another video even, going through all of my knits, but yeah, basically knitting came into my life as I was starting to get better from my mental health and mental illness, and since then it's been like the pillar to my progression and healing from trauma, from my mental health, everything. So I can't sing the praises of knitting enough, really. I really can't. I think I'll leave it there. That ended up being just a massive conversation about my mental health, but obviously it's what my life is, you know. One thing I will say, and I feel awful for saying this, I don't know if anybody will even watch this or even stay on to the end, but one thing I will say, and I know this is going to come across really rude, and this is actually one of the reasons why up until now I didn't want to make a video and put it on YouTube, is I really struggle with replying to messages on my phone, online, etc. For some reason it's like a big detriment to my mental health. So if anybody does comment or send me a message, I just want to say in advance that if I don't reply, it's not personal to you, it's just something that I struggle with, and it's not a you thing, it's a me thing, all of that. Yeah, I just wanted to say that because I don't want to, I know that's going to sound rude to a lot of people, and that does, I don't like that. I don't like being rude, full stop. I don't like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I just wanted to say I probably just like comments or anything like that because I can do that, but then replying to it is sort of that's too much. Normally I have like 1 or 2 good replying days in like a 3-week period, but obviously that doesn't give me a lot of time to reply to everyone, so just inevitably I end up not. And I know that can come across rude, but I just can't do it. I just can't do it. So it's not that I don't appreciate, I mean I don't, this is probably blowing smoke up me by saying that people are going to comment etc, but if people do, I'll probably just like the comment instead of replying, because that's as much as I can do right now. So yeah, I'm sorry about that, I really am, but yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I'll say goodbye just now. I have so much more to speak about, and I do really want to be consistent with this because I don't know anybody that knits that I can speak to in real life. So even just talking to myself about it is enough. Yeah. So I'll say goodbye. Hopefully I'll see you soon. I do want to make other videos of like trying all the stuff that I've made, etc, etc. Probably make a sock video because I love knitting socks. yeah, so I'll see you another time, hopefully soon. Thank you for watching, and bye.